Hey, this is Jesse with Create This. I think most people know that if you need to calculate the cost of a trip with an old gasoline vehicle, you take the number of miles that you plan to go and you divide that by the miles per gallon. So 39 miles per gallon with this Ford C-Max Energy Hybrid. So 6.4 gallons is how much gas you would need. And then if gas is $1.87 a gallon, you know that your trip will cost about $11.98. So that's pretty straightforward, right? But how does that work with an electric vehicle? MPGe is miles per gallon equivalent. So you can't do the same thing. You can't just say 250 miles for the trip divided by 95 MPGe is what? 2.63 what? So the issue here is that 2.63 is the equivalent energy as compared to gasoline. So you need to take the amount of actual energy in a gallon of gasoline and convert that and then compare it to your fuel source, which in this case is like electricity, right? So kilowatt hours. So I made a nice little calculator to deal with this problem because I was looking at an electric vehicle myself and I was curious. Let's say that you have an electric vehicle and your fuel type is then kilowatt hours. Let's say that it's this Ford C-Max plug-in hybrid and you have a 95 MPGe. So, and your cost of electricity, let's say it's like the national average of 12 cents per kilowatt hour, so 0.12. And your MPGe is 95. And you want to go 250 miles. Now you know, in order to make that trip, it's going to cost you $10.64. So going back to our previous calculation, 250 miles with a Ford C-Max at 39 miles per gallon. So 250 divided by 39 times, let's say gas is 187, right? That's a little low, but it's conceivable. You're only paying $11.98 for the trip. Whereas with electric, you're actually paying $10.64 for the trip. So you can see this 95 is very misleading. They make you think that this vehicle is twice as efficient, more than twice as efficient on electric than it is on gas. And the reality is costs come up to be almost the same depending on your fuel source. It is a very efficient vehicle, but you're not necessarily going to save a lot of money. We have a cost comparison calculator, and this is useful if you have a hybrid and you're curious which fuel source you should be using for a given trip. So number of miles that you want to travel, say we're using this 250 mile example again. For one comparison, we'll use gasoline. Miles per gallon is 39, cost per gallon, 187, $11.99 for the trip. Very easy to calculate. Electricity, miles per gallon, E, 95. Cost per gallon, 12 cents per kilowatt hour. So now you can see, yes, clearly using electricity is a little bit cheaper, but it's really not that bad to use gas instead. If we lower the cost of electricity to 10 cents per kilowatt hour, then it clearly becomes quite a bit cheaper to run electricity. Similarly, if we raise the cost of gasoline to $3 a gallon, then it is much more expensive to use gasoline. So this is just a neat little calculator where you can go and you can compare different fuel types for different vehicles. We have electricity, diesel, biodiesel, ethanol, E85, CNG, LPG, methanol, all that stuff. We also have on this website, this is mpgecost.com, by the way. We also have a case studies page, and this is pretty interesting. The purpose of this page is to illustrate that the weight of the vehicle directly affects the efficiency and the distance that it goes on a certain amount of energy. So if we say that our cost per kilowatt hour is 12 cents and our trip distance is 250 miles, we can pretty easily see that a Chevy Bolt would cost $8.50, but if you made that same trip on an E-Glide SS electric bicycle, it would cost you a whopping 56 cents. Now granted, you would only be going 20 miles an hour, so it would take you a while, but when you remove all that weight, this is a 39-pound vehicle versus a 3,580-pound vehicle. When you remove all that weight, the cost of the trip is much less. So anyway, this is kind of an interesting page. I've got some links if you want to click through and see how much those vehicles cost. We have an FAQ section where I talk about MPGe and give some equations and also MPGe. We've got a fuel types table where we list the fuel types that the calculator uses, and we also link over to the Wikipedia article in case you're curious what that calculation looks like. Check it out, MPGecost.com. Kind of neat. I like it. Use it. I'll include a link to this website down below the video in the description. I'll also include a link to our Patreon. If you enjoy the content of this channel and you'd like to see more of it, please consider becoming a patron. As always, thanks for watching and please subscribe.